Yeah. Saw my whole life in a doctor's light, a man's worst fear in the lonely night. But weakness showed me where faith can stand, my trembling heart in a steady hand. Now the story I never wanted to live is the only true hope that I have to give. Turning pain to purpose in His design, turning pain to purpose, your hope and mine. Yeah, hope for somebody else.
Hello everybody, thank you for watching another episode of the podcast Tell Me Your Story. This is your host Chris Baker, and today's guest is Vic. Give it up for Vic! Welcome to the show, Vic.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. It's an awesome opportunity. I'm glad I'm not the only one drinking.
It's an honor to have you on, and a privilege,
I got my coffee.
Gonna hear your story.
Oh, yeah. I love telling my story.
Over here drinking Sprite, you got your coffee.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what happens when you get to be my age.
All right, well, let's dive into it, man.
All right. What do you want to know?
Let's start from the very beginning. Where does life begin for you?
Well, my dad met my mom in Columbus, Ohio. And they got married, and then 9 months later, I was here. You probably not want to go back that far.
What I usually say to everybody every year when it comes to my birthday, if we're gonna go that route, and I'm like, well, 33 years ago, I went to a party with my dad, and then I left with my mom.
That's exactly. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. But yeah, I tell everybody about mine. Like, I was born in 1968. A year and 2 months before man even landed on the moon. And people are like, wow, you really are old. I thought that's always been the way. And I'm like, well, that's it. So, so how far back you want to go? I mean, I can go back all the way.
Yeah, let's go all the way back.
All right. So I was born in Columbus, Ohio, but I grew up in Boyd County, Kentucky, running the mountains. Boyd County is Ashland, Kentucky, is about an hour and a half east of Lexington, to where Lexington kind of has the rolling horse farm hills kind of thing. Where I grew up and just south of me, nothing but coal mining mountains. We had a steel plant, a lot of coal, and a lot of forest, a lot of woods. And I spent every opportunity I could out in those woods. Me and my brother would get up, eat breakfast, take off, come back for supper. And, that was different times. Mom didn't know where we were. She just knows that we weren't underfoot in the house.
See, that's it. So I was going to answer my next question. What I was going to ask you is it technology or before technology? Because a lot of the younger audience wants to know.
Oh, yeah. Definitely before technology. I love the meme that has the picture with all the bicycles in the front yard of the house, and it says, "This was our social media," or "This was our Google Maps. This is our 360 where we knew where everybody was at," because you just go by somebody's house, all the bicycles are in the yard. That's where you knew everybody was. And so as soon as you got home with your mom, you got your bicycle, and that's where you went.
Now, what would you say was the most beautiful thing about it, though? Just because I hear it over and over, like just getting out in those woods or getting out on that boat, just camping, and not having like a phone around you. Describe what that's really like, though, like the freedom of that.
Yeah, and that's the word for it. And we're going in a Memorial Weekend where we honor all those who have died for our freedom. But that's exactly the way I would describe growing up the way I grew up. Is we were free. We were running around the woods. We had our BB guns. We would get in a fight with somebody at school, and then later that day, we were meeting up at their house and playing, Atari. Not even Nintendo. We were playing Atari, and so that's just the way it was. You had a disagreement, you settled it, you moved on, and you went to the woods and you squirrel hunted or You built tree houses. I don't know how many tree houses. I had a tree house one time that was 3 stories high. Well, I don't
Wow.
say stories, but it had 3 levels. And so I don't know if they were completely stories as the way you define a story, but they were 3 levels. And we got into some mischief. Good fun, you know. And then I built one behind the house that was a big old room. You could walk around in it, kind of like you would see on the TV shows of the kids. So I think one of the things that kids are missing today is that freedom because they're so wrapped up in the social media, which there's there's social media is 2 sides of the same coin. We have the greatness of social media, and then you have the dark side of social media. But the same thing we had the same thing when I was a kid. We had the greatness of having the freedom to run and play in the woods. But the darkness of it was, I could fall out of a tree and break my arm. And so
Mhm.
there's that kind of thing. So, but I think getting outside, man, I love it today. I'm 58, just turned 58, and I love being outside. I love being on the boat. I love um, being in the woods. I love camping. I love hiking. My wife's from South Africa, and we went there a couple years ago, and I went hiking on one of the mountains there. It was just amazing to be outside, to be disconnected. So I think people miss that.
I think it's more too a spiritual thing too. You get out there and you're just you're one on one.
Certainly. Like every morning I get up and walk my dog, and I'm usually out there by 6:30, and sometimes he's a little bit more enthusiastic than other mornings. But we're out walking, and that's when I pray and I look at nature and I look around of all the blessings that I have. I spend that time thinking about not necessarily what I've got to do that day, but I think about what I was blessed with the day before. I look around at the nature and I have a couple lakes that I walk by when I'm walking him, and there's ducks
Yes.
out there and there's alligators out there, and you see the nature, and then you hear a bird call, and it's like you said, it's meditative, it's a spiritual thing, and I wouldn't trade my morning walks for anything.
No,
And
no,
that's what I would
because I
encourage.
agree.
Well,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry. One of the things I would encourage before we get into my main story, one of the things I would encourage people, it helped me um, get through my cancer. When I started focusing on what was around me, because when you get cancer, and we're going to get into this whenever you're ready, but when you get cancer, especially a rare cancer like I had, you start to reevaluate what's around you, what's important, what's going on, and it makes you more meditative, more
Yeah,
spiritual in a way.
you're more open to like everything around you.
You are, because when you get hit with that big C word, you know the your days literally are numbered,
Yeah,
and
because
you may have like 10,000 of those days remaining, or you may only have a few hundred. But when you get that, you have your days. You start thinking like, my life is finite. It's not eternal like I thought when I was in my 20s or in my teens. When I was running those woods, I was indestructible. I had a pellet gun. I would shoot anything that came around. I did it all, and because I was indestructible, I was fearless. Now you're thinking, all right, I'm fearless in a whole different way now because I want to experience things. I want to I want to lay on my deathbed whenever that comes around. I know it's kind of a morbid thought, but I want to lay there and think, there's a few mistakes that I had, but I've had no regrets.
you have no what ifs when it comes to that
Exactly.
time.
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, I agree with you though. That's the best way to live life, and especially like I was gonna say, when you're being out in those woods, man, it's something else. That first thing in the
Oh,
morning, you're getting that
love it.
fresh dew, that fresh air. You're hearing the birds sing,
Yeah.
and
And
something
I live
that I
here in
mean,
Florida, so it's paradise all the time.
And something about it though, man, it leaves you in a peaceful state of mind afterwards.
It does.
You come
It
back
does.
and you're feeling refreshed and you're ready for the day.
Exactly. And I'm clear minded because I do a lot of writing. I do some speaking, and it kind of clears my head to get me ready for um, for the creative side of what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So going on to the next, what would you say was your favorite childhood memory? Other being out in the woods.
Yeah, that would be it. I think my favorite childhood memory. Wow, I've never had that question before. Um, it'd be we built our own bicycles. I don't know if that's a favorite one, but it's an odd one. I remember getting one new bicycle my whole life as a kid. We built and traded parts and did different things. I built my own chopper um, on my bicycle. So I jammed these two extra forks that I found. I sawed them off with a hacksaw. I jammed them on the forks of my bike, and I made myself a chopper, just like in what's that movie with Jack Nicholson and Easy Rider. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I had my own little chopper. I built in a tree house. There's something about climbing a tree and and tearing up some lumber. It's like the first thing you do, you put your steps so you can climb up the tree. So you nail those into the tree, and then you put your boards on. You lay your flooring, and you just all sorts of things that just doing that kind of stuff. Going fishing with my uncle, um, camping at his. So I guess my favorite childhood memory is just being outside.
Yeah, just being a kid.
Yeah, just growing up, man. Because my uncle would take me fishing, and my dad didn't really fish, and nobody in my family fished except for my uncle and my dad's brother-in-law. Um, and I got a liking for it. Now my brother has a liking for it as well. We both love to go fishing, and my uncle would take me to his little cabin, and we would get the boat out and we'd go out in the little sandy river and just fish. And sometimes my aunt would come along and she'd cook for us while we fished all day. And it was just amazing. And I remember catching catfish and setting trot lines and just yeah, that's it. Just being outside as a kid.
So, start describing how it was when you started becoming a teenager.
Yeah. Um, Becoming a teenager, there's a few things that I've carried with me my whole life, and that's a love for the outdoors, a love for fishing. And when I became a teenager, then I was able to get my own car, and then I was able to just to go places by myself and have it. I guess freedom again would be it, because I never had a curfew growing up. Mom and dad never gave me a curfew. They'd say when you gonna be home, and I'm like, yeah, whenever. But I never got into too much trouble. I didn't go to too many parties. You know, if we were going out, we were fishing. And so they knew we were going to be at the lake probably all night. And now we'd probably get somebody to buy us some beer. And mom and dad didn't really know about all that. And so we'd be, you know, fishing on this lake and trying to catch some catfish and just drinking beer. And
Yeah.
by then we'd be up ready to go the next morning and go back home. And yeah, so being a teenager was a lot of fun. I loved going to school, not for school, but that's where all my buddies, we all hung out, we all did the things. So going to school was amazing. I wish I'd have spent more time in academics than I did extracurricular, I should say. And but it was fun. To being a teenager was great. Being an adult, like every year has has a different love. Like when I was in my 20s, I was young, I was vibrant, I was energetic, I was newly married, and everything was great. I became in my 30s when everybody else mourns, like, I'm in my 30s. Oh. I like, nah, 30s are great, man, because that's when people think of you as an adult. You can still hang out with the 20-year-olds and show them how it's done. But now when you're 30, people start listening to you. So the older adults start looking at you as an adult. So now you're starting to gain the respect. And then you get into your 40s, you start getting settled down, you have a career going, you've got a couple kids, maybe, a wife, a mortgage, you've got bills. So life starts getting onto you, but you learn to balance. So I don't really think a lot of people learn to balance till their late 30s or early 40s, because then you start to balance like bills and fun and this and that. And too much of one kind of kicks the other in the head. So too much fun, now you're behind on your bills. Too much bills, you're not having any fun. So what's the point? So in the 50s, I love my 50s. Now my 50s have brought me cancer and brought me a new career direction, or a revamping of a career direction. And but I love it. The 60s, I'm only a couple years away, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like you're living life to the fullest, to be honest.
I'm trying.
That's what it sounds like.
I am trying. I mean, I've got the headaches just like anybody else. I got to make a car payment, and I've got a mortgage payment, and I've got these, and I've got to do things that's going to bring in money. And like, by the way, how much am I getting paid for this?
I'll tell you afterwards.
Appreciate it. But yeah, so you start doing things. Everybody's got their headaches, and you can worry about everything, and then you're just miserable. You're angry all the time. You're sad all the time. You're disappointed all the time because people are just maybe you rely on people too much. But if you start letting the worries of the world weigh you down, you're going to find yourself in an early grave, I think.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, just the best way to put it. You live as you grow. Yeah. In your 20s, you're kind of living your best life. You're living out. You're trying to figure out who you really want to be in life and what you want to do. And by the time you get to your 30s, at least when you hope you're in your 30s, you got everything settled and you're ready to rock and roll in that next phase of your life.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
So far, I can agree. I've done pretty good. I've done pretty well. I lived my 20s just like everybody else has, and now being in my 30s, I'm married, happy, and then just rolling with life. I'm just working with it now.
That's it. And if you're lucky, you got your best friend with you, or you find her. You find her later in life, like I did.
I found her when I was in my 20s. It actually kind of worked out.
That's good. That's awesome.
Anyway, the biggest challenging thing for my advice for a lot of people is your 30s are going to change a lot. You're going to that freedom that you have being out there, where you can kind of spend money on whatever you want to do. Go stay at a hotel somewhere, go to Vegas, whatever. Eventually, it's going to change.
It is.
You have to prepare yourself for that, because
Vegas doesn't have the appeal as it did when you were younger and when you get older. Like, you look at it now, like, oh, okay, that's great. All right. I don't drink all night long like I used to, and I don't do this, and so Vegas is like, oh, it's great to be here. So let's go see some historical sites now.
Let's be more calm now. Let's relax. Exactly. The best way to put it is you start to settle. You start to relax a little bit more. You're not always ready to run away and go do this and go do that. And
I like what you said. You begin to relax a little bit more, rather than, because when people hear that, and you begin to settle, you're not settling. You're relaxing. You're chilling now. You're not really going to beat the band anymore. You're learning to relax and have balance. And I think a lot of people may get confused when you say, you start to settle down. I don't settle down. I relax, because I don't want to sit here and grow roots out my butt in my my lazy boy chair, because I've settled and I'm done. I want to keep moving.
No. A better way to put it is you have a better understanding how to go with things.
Exactly. Exactly.
Instead of kind of going off your first instinct and you're thinking, okay, I got to do it this way. No, you actually have a plan this time and how you're going to
Right.
do it, and you're going to execute
I'm going to crush
it.
it. Going to crush it.
Yeah, and that's how you do, because you learn. You learn as you go,
You do.
and that's just how life is. You're almost in your 60s, and what is life all about? You're learning
Exactly.
something new every day.
Every day. Matter of fact, I have when I journal every morning. I divide my journal into 4 areas based on what I call 4 major choices. Um, the early bird choice number 1: the early bird gets the worm. So you got to make that a choice. Choice number 2 is look to the ant. I got that from the scriptures. Look to the ant, consider its ways, and be wise. So that's about my work and what I do and my strengths. Then the third one is excellence is never an accident. And I got that from Aristotle. And when he says choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And I'm like, all right, so there's my choices. So 3 of them. And then the fourth one is like all work and no play makes Vic a dull boy. But choice number 3, excellence is never an example or never, excellence is never an accident. The very first thing on there, I put, what did I learn? Because I feel every day you should learn something, whether it's from a podcast like this or it's from a newsletter you get in your email. You've got to take time to learn something. Maybe it's something you heard on the news, or maybe it could be something little, or it could be something major. But you've got to learn every single day. And I always tell people, if you haven't learned something, then you've wasted your day.
Well said. That's a mic drop right there.
Yep. Boom.
So somebody write that down. I think you need to
put it on a postcard or something.
All right, going into your high school career, were you working during your high school career? Or?
No, I was playing around. I have a few odd jobs around. My first job was I was doing marketing for a pizza place, and by marketing I mean I was going around the neighborhood handing out flyers about this pizza joint and putting them in mailboxes and on doors, and then they were giving me like all the pizza I wanted. And it was worked out fine for me. But high school was just fun. I loved going to the football games, drinking the beer. The senior skip day. I had a buddy of mine who kept Jack Daniels and Pepsi in his locker. And for those younger, lockers are the things we used to keep our books in at school. And so he kept some Jack Daniels and Pepsi in his locker. How he got it? Well, it was looser back then, so you could bring anything you wanted to. If you got caught, you got in trouble. You just didn't get caught. So we'd have a snort of that from time to time. And then, I had my buddies. I was in mechanics class a lot. So my junior and senior year, I spent a lot of time in a vocational school and learned some auto mechanics and how to work on cars because I had the thought that I might want to be a race car driver, and which is a lot.
Actually, hold on. Wait 1 minute. What year is this?
This is my junior and senior year.
No, what is it? The 80s, 90s?
Oh, it's the 80s. Yeah, I graduated in 1986. So this year will be 40 years since I've been out of high school.
I was asking because it gives you a better idea of what kind of music was being played.
Yeah. Prince, the new movie Michael Jackson was huge. Bon Jovi was starting to make some inroads during the 80s. Ozzy. I'm trying to think of who else was big back in those days. A lot of one-hit wonders. Journey was still big. Foreigner. Some southern rock bands were good. Leonard Skinner was coming back after the plane crash in the 70s. So it was.
Did you have Motley Crue still?
Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, Whitesnake. But I was more into the country side of it. So, you're looking at Hank Williams Jr., Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, the Oak Ridge Boys and their hit song Elvira was huge. Um, uh, Clint Black. Who else? George Jones was big. George Jones in the 80s, they say the greatest country song ever was He Stopped Loving Her Today. And it was a song that he recorded in the 80s. And he used to run around with Elvis and all that stuff. So Roy Orbison had his song Pretty Woman was coming out. So yeah, it's just the music was amazing back then. The hair for the girls was jacked up to Jesus, man. They had it white rain hairspray all over the place, Jordache jeans, graphic T-shirts were the rage. Everybody had a Michael Jackson's jacket that it could afford it. The red one with all the zippers. So yeah. So the music was amazing.
Did you have a Michael Jackson jacket?
No, I didn't have it. My jacket, I had more of like, well, again, I was Michael Jackson. I resisted Michael Jackson, but I secretly listened to him a little bit, especially when we were running around. Like I listened to country music a lot. That was it was on my truck radio when I was in high school and all that, or my car radio, and it was country music all the way. But all my buddies were into Rat, Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, Van Halen. So I listened to a lot of those guys. And if you wanted to impress the girls, then you listened to Prince and Bon Jovi and Michael Jackson.
Yeah. People don't realize how big they were back then anymore.
Huh?
People don't realize how big Prince was, Michael Jackson was.
Legend.
During that time period. It's they're legends, man. You might hear them as these soft-voiced people now, but they were.
Oh, yeah, and these kids today, they have their skateboard parks. We basically invented skateboarding in the 80s. And our skateboard park was like whatever road or sidewalk we were on. And that was...
I've had my skateboard days.
Yeah, so you had Back to the Future with... Michael J. Fox, and that's what he was. He was a big skateboarder, and so you had a lot of that. And our little skateboards were like this big. We didn't have the wide ones like they have today. Ours were like barely 6 inches across.
Yeah, they got the longboards now.
Oh,
I see them. Yeah. That's very popular right now.
And now they have ones with motors on them.
If you guys never experienced being on a skateboard and you're trying to do it for the first time, watch out for them pebbles. They will be the life of you.
They will put the brakes on for sure.
You're gonna go for a ride.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You're gonna tumble, get some raspberries.
Especially if you got that momentum going. Oh man.
Oh yeah. It'd be a tough one. I came down it where I grew up. We had a hill in front of our house and went like this, and then it started like this and then went down. So I decided I was going to get the skateboard, take it to the top of the hill. That was a mistake.
Yeah, you learned real quick seeing that pebble.
Yeah. There was no slowing down. You could if you're good enough, you can hit the brakes on it. But by the time you get that good, or the time you get that fast, where I'm thinking I'm going to lose control, and you go to hit the back of it so it starts to slide and slow down, you're already out of control. And so
you're already losing it, man.
Oh, yeah. Broken bones, scratches, everything, man. You have it.
So you're living it up in the 80s, man. Or did you end up going to college, or what did you do afterwards?
I did. I went to a Christian college in Grayson, Kentucky. Kentucky Christian College. It's now Kentucky Christian University. And went there. I decided I wanted to be a minister and be a preacher. And that's where my beginning of my speaking career really began. So I was writing a lot and speaking a lot. But my main focus was communication. I wanted to learn how to communicate. I want to learn how to talk and be in front of people. I never was shy. Like going to church, I was the first one to volunteer for a talking part. I may not have gotten it, but I was the first one to volunteer for one because I loved being on stage and talking to people. I'm kind of a showboat, to be honest. And so I went to college, got a master's degree, met my first wife while I was there, and we got married and had a couple kids as the years went on. So it was college was fun. Some of my lifelong friends that, although I don't talk to them as much today, I know that if I needed to, I could reach out to any of them, and they would be right there with advice. Maybe not a paycheck, but they'd be there with some advice. And so it's pretty good. It's a good school. You know, a lot of it's a private college, being a Christian college and all that stuff. But now they've got their own football team. Like back when I went there, they just started soccer. We had a boys and girls basketball team and baseball. That was it. Now they've got a bass fishing club or class or whatever there now. And I'm like, where was this bass fishing class when I was there? That's what I would have liked to have done. And
you should have started it, man.
I should have. I had a friend of mine. He wasn't a close friend, but he was an acquaintance, more than an acquaintance. And he brought his boat to school one semester. He had his own boat, his own fishing boat, and he brought it to school for one semester. And I think they told him he couldn't bring it back, so he only brought it to one time. But it was fun. You know, you have things like that. College years, like we didn't drink a lot. We didn't, being at a Christian college, it wasn't that scene. You learn how to have fun in different ways that didn't involve going to nightclubs and whooping it up very much. For me, that came a little later. And
hold on, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for the younger crowd that feels that way because we kind of been, I think, more about it, kind of brainwashed into believing that this is the way of life. You go to bars, you go to all this stuff, but you're hitting on a key note that when you were in college, they kind of, like Christian college especially, they taught you different ways. And I'll kind of explain to the younger audience, like, there is different ways of doing that. And what did you guys do exactly?
Well, we'd go to the lake and we'd have picnics. We would walk around the lake. We'd camp. We'd fish. We'd have dates. We'd take girls to the movies and go out to dinner, and we'd play basketball. And we just, again, we go back outside because we didn't have social media back then. The only way you was going to talk to your friends, either you had to pick up a phone and call them, or you prearrange some times to meet with people. So there's plenty of things to get into without having to go to a nightclub. Like, luckily, where our college was, the county was dry, so you couldn't really go to a nightclub there anyway. You couldn't even get alcohol. You had to go to the next county over to get alcohol, and you had to go to the next state to find a nearest nightclub in West Virginia. So you had those kind of things, but you found ways. Like at night, like on a Christian campus, there's a curfew. First time I ever had a curfew in my life, I was in college. So we'd play laser tag in the dorms. So laser tag, everybody would go out and buy their own laser tag thing, and we'd turn out all the lights in the dormitory, and it was like 3 or 4 stories high, and 3 or 4 floors, and we would just go down and we would just have laser tag battles throughout the whole dorm. Then late at night, we would talk to security guards, say, "Look, we're going to be playing laser tag out there. We got special permission from the dean." So we'd have battles outside, like till 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah, so it was clean fun. It wasn't fun where we felt like we had to drink or smoke. And I've been watching this documentary on Netflix because it's been all over TikTok about this Mackenzie girl who was in a car accident, killed her friends, and and a lot of this, um, a lot of this documentary dealt with a lot with their drug use and their alcohol, mainly drugs. They mainly did shrooms and smoked pot. And now just as a caveat, they didn't say it was a contributing factor to the car wreck or anything like that. If you watch the Netflix thing, but I got to thinking, she's just in high school, and that's where a lot of people experiment with the marijuana and all that stuff. But I like to tell people there's more to life than being high, being drunk,
Yep.
even. There's like to get out and experience. Like my stepdaughter's like, man, Lacey, man, you smell like outside. And I'm like, well, how would you know what outside smelled like? You don't go. And and so it's just being outside. There's using your creativity. I think one of the things that people are losing today in some ways, and maybe it's just adapting, is they're losing their creativity. Like when we were in school, when we were in college, high school, even as a kid, there's a creativity about us. We created things to do every day. We created a tree house to build. We created a skateboard down the hill. We created all night fishing. We created ways to get beer. We created, games to play in the open and in the dorms, and we there was a creativity about things. I can remember one time when I was in school, we had to turn in a paper that had to be unique in such a way, and I was good at writing, and my buddy was a little better at things. He just thought differently, and so he turned his paper that he wrote into a papyrus, like an old-fashioned scroll, and he put it in coffee grounds so it looked brown and aged. He burnt corners of it to where it looked like it was been worn, and then he rolled it up and put it in a plastic vase of some kind, like it was in a scroll, and handed it in. Of course, then he got an A. So kids today, they're like, yeah, if I can't do it on a computer, I'm not going to be able to do it. And you just lose that creativity. So when we were in college, we just found creative things to do. We weren't bored, to be honest. We only had cable was just new. Satellite dishes were the size of the hood of my truck, and you had to be rich to have a satellite dish. And there was none of these Netflix. There was none of these apps. There was Blockbuster. You can go to Blockbuster and get a movie. Until Netflix decided, you know what, we can mail you a DVD and you just keep it as long as you want. And then they finally became the pioneer of just creating an app where you can watch TV on your television, watch all the movies and stuff. So all this stuff was pre this. So we had to be creative. And that's where a lot of these guys got their ideas. Like, where do you think the guys that created Apple came from? Well, they came from my generation, maybe just a few years before me, and they got their creativity. These guys that come up with Netflix, where did they get their creativity from? The guys that came up with Blockbuster, their creativity. So we're losing our creativity, or maybe it's adapted in such ways that it doesn't look as creative. You go to Chat GPT and say, look, I need something that looks like I did this with a tattoo. I want to get a tattoo. And I was like, I want this tattoo, and I want it to look like this, and I want it to say this, and show it to me. And Chat GPT did it for me. And I'm like, it looks cool. A few things I would change on it, but it overall looked pretty good. Wasted my time. Or not really wasted my time, but it took my time. I could put it on other things. So some ways it's good, but we've got to get out there and get our creativity back, man. It's just finding creative ways to do it. And that's what college was about for me, is finding ways to be creative.
And I get what you're saying, though. And it's kind of like you said, it's like it's a double-edged sword, where it's like the creativity is still there, but we have made it so it's easier, and we don't have to do it less work. But like you said, it's just being able to do it yourself, be able to come up with something out of your own brain, and not have to go to rely on AI or Chat GPT
Right.
and say, hey, can you come up with an idea for me? Like, no, go to yourself, get out, get somewhere where you can just come up with your own ideas,
Exactly.
because that's really where it's at.
Well, look at Jeff Bezos. Like, we all have Amazon Prime. We all order from Amazon. I just got an order yesterday, and I'll get another order today or tomorrow. We all order. That started off, Jeff Bezos decided, I think I want to do with this new internet thing, sell books online. So he went to his garage, quit his job, started Amazon in his garage just to sell books. So how creative is that? And now he's like top 5 richest man in the world because of that.
I think he might be actually. Yeah, I think he's the top dude right now. Just because they're like, yeah, that's a humble beginning, to be honest. When you really think about it, starting from a garage.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he always says it too. Like, if you listen to his speeches, he always tells you, like, dude, I started from a garage. You can start from anywhere.
Exactly. And I tell people that all the time. The only thing holding you back is you.
Yep, you have all this greatness inside of you. Let it out into the world.
Exactly. I mean, your creativity may not look like my creativity, or your greatness may not look like my greatness, but there's room for us both to be great.
Yeah. And there's something inside you right now when you really think about it. I mean, somebody's listening to this, watching this right now, that you don't think you got it. You don't think you got it, but there is. What is something that you enjoy, really, really enjoy doing, but you don't like telling people about it?
Exactly.
That's it. That's it.
Back, there's a passage of scripture in 1 Peter. I know this is not a church thing or a Christian thing, really, but there's a passage in 1 Peter. I can't remember the verse, and it says, everybody has a gift. Everybody has a talent. Everybody's got one. So you've got to tap it. Now, it may not be one that's going to make you $1 million, but you've got a talent that's going to give you a richness that may not be in a bank account, but it's going to be in your soul, in your spirit, in your life, and you're going to feel fulfilled. And so you got to find that greatness within you and let it out. Let the world see it. You're doing the world a disservice by not living your greatness.
Yeah. The better way to put it is the Lord has put a calling on you. You have a purpose in this world. You were created for a reason.
Exactly.
Go figure out what it is.
Go find it. And
right,
it's usually something you've known that you've been doing your whole life. You know, that's usually what it is. When you look back, you're like, you know what? I really enjoyed doing this. Then why aren't you doing it anymore? Well, life got in the way, and I needed a job, and I needed this, but this is really what I really wanted to do. Well, then go do it. It may have to start on weekends or your extra hours. You may have to give up a little sleep, but go do it. And then eventually it might turn into being your full-time gig.
Yeah. And like you said, go do it. But, people are asking how. Start small, man. Start small. Start doing it on the weekday, weekends, whenever you have free time on that weekend. When you always try to say that, I want to relax. Like, no, do it on that day.
The old saying goes, the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So you start small. You start small, and you'll get there. And just when you go too big too fast, you get discouraged. Or if you see the elephant, like, there's no way I'm going to eat this whole thing. Well, just start. Eventually you'll get there. Eventually you'll have it done. It's like building a brick wall. You see the wall that needs to be built, and you're like, oh man, how am I going to build this wall? Well, lay one brick, and then lay the second brick, and then lay the third brick, and eventually you're going to have a wall.
Is it going to be easy? No.
Nope, not at all.
You're going to run into a lot of no's, but eventually you're going to see those yeses, and those yeses are going to carry you.
Exactly.
So whatever it is, let it catch fire, and keep going.
Yeah, keep moving, man. Keep moving.
All right, let's really start digging into your story now. Let's pull back the layers. You said I kind of want to, like, before we jump too into it, you said you met your wife over in Africa, South Africa?
Well, my
Or
my
that's where she...
wife my wife um is South African. I got divorced, and then I met her, and then we got married, and then she's from South Africa, lives here in the United States, and I've been to South Africa, love it, and going back again this year. And but yeah, she's from South Africa. She has the accent and says words and things that I don't even understand, and she tries to explain them to me. She talked to me one time in Afrikaans, which is one of the languages there in South Africa, and just started having a conversation with me. And I'm like looking at her funny. She goes, "Oh, I forgot. You don't know Afrikaans yet." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm learning and or trying to. And then she's teaching me different food flavors and different cultures and opening my eyes up to so many different things. It's amazing.
Can only imagine.
Oh yeah, and she's hot.
Oh, yeah. She's a banger.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's a
Love
very beautiful woman. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
All
she's
right.
very beautiful.
So let's pull back the layers now.
All
So
right.
when you found out you had the C word,
Yeah.
what was going on?
So
What was leading up to that moment?
nothing. Like here's the thing. Excuse me. I don't go to the doctor. I unless I have to get my eyes checked or the dentist or something, I resist going to the doctor all the time. I resisted taking even a Tylenol or an ibuprofen if I had a headache. I hated this stuff. I'm like, I'll get through it. The old people used to do it without doctors. They used to do this, they used to do that. And then I came home and I was wearing a white shirt and she goes, "You spilled coffee on your shirt." Well, I drink coffee all the time. And so it's nothing new for me to be able to dribble coffee on my shirt. So I was living life. I was doing my work. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing and drinking coffee. Just, we was having guests over that night. Cancer was the furthest thing from my mind. So I go to change my shirt, like I said, because we're having guests over. But I noticed on my shirt that I dropped coffee on this side. And I'm like, how in the world did coffee get over here? And so I'm like, well, I'm a guy. I could be drinking coffee and spill it on my back for all that goes. So I didn't think. So I took it off, and but I started feeling him. It started like my chest felt wet, and I'm like, did I recently spill coffee? And that's what it was, and it soaked through, and my chest was wet. But the more I rubbed it, it stayed wet. It wasn't, when you rub something, eventually it's going to dry. This did not.
Yeah.
So I went to the bathroom and started looking around, looking at it and didn't think, but I felt that it was, how a pimple or a boil feels like you can feel there's something in there. So I was kind of feeling around and I'm like, all right, let me do what all guys do. And I just gave it a big old squeeze, I just like, and the secretion came out of my nipple all over the bathroom mirror.
Ugh.
Yeah. And so I didn't clean it up. I called my wife. I said, "Come here, baby." And she looked at it and she goes, "Where'd that come from?" I said, "It came from my boob. I squeezed this up my boob." I said, "Watch." And I squeezed it again and more came out. And she goes, "Yeah, that's not right. We need to see a doctor." And I said, "Well," I think it's just a cyst or something like that. I'm not going to really worry about it. So I cleaned up the mirror and I changed shirts and we went on about our dinner and all that stuff. But she talked me into it. She wore me down that I needed to go to the emergency room. So the next day or so, I went to the emergency room and I said, "Look, I told them that story that it's leaking and stuff." And they said, "Well, let's go get a MRI of it, see what's going on." And so they did. And as I was going back, the radiologist says, I'm not going to say you've got cancer or anything, but you do know that men can also get breast cancer. And I did know it, but I didn't think about it. My brother and I were just recently joking how we wouldn't get it. Like my mom had it, but we're guys. We're not going to get breast cancer. And my daughters might, but, I won't. And so he did an MRI, and he said, yeah, there's something there. You need to go see your doctor. Now, he told me about some other people that's had breast cancer, like Peter Criss, the drummer from Kiss. He has had breast cancer. Michael Knowles, that he didn't tell me this, but I found this out later. Michael Knowles, Beyonce's dad, had breast cancer. So I go to the doctor, and I didn't have insurance at the time. I just didn't have it because it was a waste of money. It's not, but I thought so. And so I go to a doctor, and the doctor looks around and says, I don't feel nothing. And the chance of you having breast cancer is too slim. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. So my wife was like, no, that's not what we're going to go with. And so she kept calling around. She was very persistent. She persevered a lot more. I was giving up. I was going back to work. I was like, whatever. They said it wasn't. And she's like, yeah, it didn't sound right. There's something wrong. We need to find out what's wrong. If it is nothing, then it's nothing. But we've got to find out what it is, because it's something. And it could be something. It could have been a cyst that just needs to be taken out. Anyway, she called around, found out. I went and saw some people, and they said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to send you over for a mammogram and then a biopsy. So for your lady listeners who go for their annual mammograms, I feel you. I know exactly what you go through. And so I went in there, I hugged that machine and put my armpit in there and my boob, and they squished it down, and it became as much of a pancake as possible. And then finally they did see something, so they put some markers in me, and then they took a biopsy. A week later, this was in 2023. I found out in November 2022, Thanksgiving week. And 2023, at the end of January, middle of January, is when I finally was able to go and get the mammogram. A week later, at the end of January, I was called into these people's office, and they said, Vic, you do have breast cancer. It came back positive for breast cancer. And I'm like, well, all right. So my wife and I were both flabbergasted. Like, first of all, cancer is devastating, but breast cancer for a guy? So 2,800 men a year and counting will receive news that they got breast cancer. The mortality rate is higher for men than women, mainly because we wait too long to go to the doctor, and we get misdiagnosed, just like I was misdiagnosed. So we have all those factors. So the mortality rate is much higher. So I just read a study that by the time 1 in 4 men go to the doctor for breast cancer, it's already in the later stages. So luckily mine was in early stages, and I was able to get it cut out on Valentine's Day, 2023. I had a double mastectomy. And didn't have any reconstruction, didn't have any tattoos. I've got 2 scars where my nipples used to be, and I had lymph nodes taken out. So my cancer had gone from my right breast into my lymph nodes. So some of them were taken out. So then I had to do radiation on top of that. And then my quest began. I need to know more about this. I need to help other men find out about this cancer business, and how I am going to tell them to be aware. So fellas, get your checks, do your feels. Your wife, your girlfriend, your mom, your sister, they all know how to feel. They were taught it from a young age on how to check for breast cancer. Guys, we do it the same way. We kind of feel around. If we feel something, go see a doctor. If you have secretions coming out of your nipple, go see a doctor. If your nipple goes from being a regular nipple to inverted, go see a doctor. All those three things, those are the top three things that will say that you have, that you could possibly have male breast cancer. And so I went through radiation and I on the road to recovery. So now, now, excuse me, now I use my stage presence and my writing to draw awareness. Like there's more to life. So it's a twofold purpose. First, to draw awareness to guys. Second, to let guys know that there's more to life than cancer. There's life to be lived after you get the diagnosis. There's life to be lived before you get the diagnosis, but there's definitely life to be lived after you get the diagnosis, and you need to go and live it. Your time is precious. Then I went and saw my doctor just I got cancer 3 years ago. I went and had a gene mutation test done. And in the beginning of this year, in March of this year, the results came back. I didn't even know they did the test. He did it, said he was going to do it, and it's all just a blood work test. And I came back and tested positive for the BRCA2. Now, the BRCA2 is a gene mutation that makes you more susceptible for cancers. And then when I was diagnosed with cancer, my sister-in-law made my brother go and get tested. He tested positive for the BRCA2 test. So once I got tested, we thought my breast cancer came from my mom because she had breast cancer. My mom had breast cancer. She ended up passing away 12 years after her original diagnosis. And so we all thought, well, that's where we got it. Well, my doctor, when I got tested and I got a positive report for the BRCA, my doctor said, let's talk to both sides of your family. So I went and had my dad, I talked my dad into going and getting tested. He's 82. And he went and got tested, and he tested positive for the BRCA2 gene mutation. So what I thought was from my mom has actually come to me through my dad. So this gene mutation was passed down. So my dad had it, my brother has it, I've got it. He told me that his two sisters both died of breast cancer. His mom, my grandmother, before she passed away, was diagnosed with breast cancer. He had two aunts on his dad's side that died of breast cancer. So when you start putting all these puzzle pieces together, you can see that I got cancer, not from my mom, who was the only one in her family to ever get cancer, but from my dad's side of the family. So I tell people to go and get tested. If you've got it in your family on your dad's side or your mom's side, go at the very least tell your doctor you want the gene mutation test. They just draw blood out, send it off, be tested. You either have it or you don't. If you don't, you're golden. And if you do, then they know to watch for a guy. They'll watch our prostate. They'll watch our colon. They'll watch our pancreas. And they'll watch, of course, our breasts.
And thank God that your wife was on you for that. Because
yeah.
Like you said, you could have went back to work and totally just dismissed it, said, "Oh, just go on with my life."
Yeah.
But thank you for your wife, man.
I wouldn't have been here if she'd have let me live to my own devices. I may not be here right now.
Yeah. She was on you for it, man, and I was just thinking that as you were telling your story. I was like, thank God your wife didn't agree with that doctor's opinion, saying, you got nothing there, because that happens to a lot of us. The thing that happened to my uncle just not too long ago. He went to go get tested, went to see because he felt something wasn't right, something wasn't something was bothering him. So he went over to the hospital and got it checked out, and they looked at him, did all the tests and everything, and said there's nothing there. Yeah. But his wife said the same thing, just like yours. she must have got that gut instinct, or God was
yeah.
speaking to, God was using her like, no, go
Exactly.
get a second opinion. Go get a second opinion. And sure enough, he got a second opinion from the Cleveland Clinic, and they found out that he did actually have like a little bit of cancer inside of him that they were able to get removed within
That's
that
good.
time period.
What kind of cancer did he have? Or do you know?
I can't remember exactly
Yeah.
what it was. It started off because he said they went on one of those cruise trips, and then like from that moment on, he didn't feel right. He felt something like he was getting like sick from it, and some type of something was going on inside him. So he wanted to get it checked out when he came back. And sure enough, when he went to that first hospital, they told him that he was fine. There's nothing wrong.
Nothing.
He got that second opinion, and then that's when they told him, like, yeah, there's something in there, and we need to, we need to get on it right now, get in the surgery, and get that removed as quickly as we can.
Yeah, you've got to be your own advocate. Like you can trust your doctor and love your doctor and all this stuff, but they're people, and they get it wrong. And sometimes, as great as they are, sometimes they're wrong. So if you know there's something wrong with you, go get that second opinion. Now I go see a cancer doctor every 6 months. I have a regular doctor that I go and see. I have a cardiologist now that I go and see. Come to find out, they said at some point I may have had a heart attack in the past, a mild one that I didn't even know. And I'm like, I should have been on top of my health a lot sooner, and I may not have some of these issues that I have. So you've got to stay on top of your health. Your body is it's the only one you've got. And I abused mine growing up. I was rough on it. I jumped out of trees. I jumped out of cars. I did all kinds of things, crazy things, and just abuse it. And so you just don't think about it when you're younger. But now when you're older, you've got to really start looking after your body, because now you've got to eat better. Like I've started eating better. Now I still eat pizza. I still eat ice cream. I still have my pasta. I eat junk food. I'll sit down on Friday night with a bag of gummies and eat them before the first 30 minutes of a 2-hour movie is over. And, but I do try to get out and exercise every day. I do try to balance it. Like I don't have fruit. I don't eat anything but fruit and a protein shake before noon, because I want to put healthy stuff in there. I try. I don't always succeed. I try not to overeat anymore. Like I can go to a buffet and clean it up, man. But I'm like, that's not healthy for me. And so my wife and I have both come to the conclusions that buffets aren't good. So we've recently decided that we're not doing any more buffets, and that we're trying to live a healthier life, to lose weight, to be healthy, to be around, so that when our grandkids are around, then we can be healthy enough to get on the ground and play with them.
Yeah. And not only that, but you could also teach them. I mean, it's hard when you're younger, because we don't like to we don't want to listen to that. Like, no, I'm going to eat and enjoy my life the way I want to. But honestly, I think, who's watching and listening right now, you should really be taking notes, because this is very important. You have to take care of your body.
You do. You have to be like, I'm not, an Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm no picture of health. You're not going to see me on the cover of Men's Health magazine anytime soon, probably. But you've got to know. Yeah, you never know. But you've got to look after yourself. You've got to take your health, your mindfulness, your physicalness, and your spiritualness. That's your health. You've got to take care of it. That's the reason why in my journal, choice number 4 is all work and no play makes Vic a dull boy. So I've divided that off into 3 sections: my mind, my body, and my spirit. So we know what the mind is. We can read and we can learn and we can grow. We know what the body is. We've got to take care of that, because that's what houses everything else. Our spirit is who we are, and we've got to take care of that. We can't let our spirit break. We've got to let it flourish, and we've got to to get out there with the emotions and with the growth and with our personalities and with our creativity. That's where all that comes from. So you've got to do stuff with all three of those. That's a complete healthy life is when a person is taking care of all three of those areas. But right now, it's the body. So that's what we're talking about today is taking care of your body. Eat the broccoli. I know I'm one that doesn't like it either, but I eat it because it's a cancer fighter. Eat in moderation. I'm not a big person on the diets. I don't do the diets. I don't do GLP. The doctor wanted to give me one. The insurance denied it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't do diets. They don't stick around. And I heard a doctor one time say a diet is basically just going to jumpstart you anyway, and then eventually you're going to quit it, and then now you go back to where you're eating the regular. So what I have done is I go to eating in moderation. So I don't go for seconds. I put on my plate what's on my plate, and I remember your stomach is only about that big. Now it may, you can stretch it up a little bit, but your stomach is only that big, so it can only hold so much. So why not eat about that much, and then watch your body burn the rest of the fat that you have, and it's in that fat that you can have cancer. It's in that fat that you can have a heart attack. It's in that fat that you carry around that makes you out of breath when you walk up one flight of stairs. So it's, you've got to look after yourself. So I start going to the doctor. I take my pills. I'm on a cancer fighting pill that my doctor prescribed called tamoxifen. I'm on that, and I'll be on that probably for the next 5 years. And I take my vitamins. I have a vitamin D and a B12, and plus everything else I take. So I've got all these things that I take, a blood pressure medicine now, and just different things just to make myself healthier, better, and I can live my life in a way where I can live life. Like I can climb a mountain now, and my wife laughs at me because now that I've climbed that mountain in South Africa, I call myself a hiker. Man, I live in Florida. There's no hiking around here. You go for a walk because everything's so flat. You can't really say you hiked it. You can say you walked it, but you can't say you hiked it. But I call myself a hiker now, and I love it. I love being outside. But before, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I was too fat. I was too out of shape, and now I put on a few pounds. I lost 70 pounds. And so I put on a few of those pounds, put them back on, but I'm working. I'm like, no, this is not happening. I got to move. I got to take those off and more. And so I got work ahead of me, but I can do it. You can do it. I can do it. We all can do it. We can live a healthier life and live a longer life.
Amen to that. So what's next? Like, what's happening next in your life?
Sorry, I got something in my throat all of a sudden. Let me give me a drink of water. Sorry.
All right. Me too.
Next, I'm working on my first book to get it written and published. So if there's any publishers out there, I've got a book for you. And it's basically telling my story. The book is, I call it Soar Above the Crows. So a crow is one of the only birds that will attack an eagle in flight. And so an eagle will be down doing what eagles do and going fishing and stuff like that. But a crow will hit the eagle and then land on the eagle and just peck at it and just annoy it and peck at it, trying to discourage it, trying to dissuade it, trying to keep it down and do all this stuff. But the eagle keeps doing what an eagle does. It flies. It soars. So it keeps soaring, keeps finding its purpose, keeps doing what it does. And eventually, an eagle soars so high that the air is so thin, the crow can't breathe. So the crow has no choice but to let go of the eagle and fall off. And goes back down to an altitude that they're more accustomed. So you want to be an eagle. and you want to soar above the discouragement. You want to soar above the obstacles. You want to soar above the things, the tribulations, the trials, the things that come into your life. You want to soar above all those things, and that's what the crow represents, because you want to be the eagle to soar above all those. And it takes strength. You got to have a willingness to overcome. It takes action. You can't just sit on your pants. And then it takes a resolve that you're going to do it. And strength, overcoming, action, and resolve spells soar. So that's going to be my book. It's going to be my book. I'm working on that right now. I do publish a blog, although I've been kind of lackadaisical on that. You can find that at jvictorclevenger.com. And then I'm speaking. So writing and speaking, trying to do podcasts, trying to draw awareness to people about how they can know more about male breast cancer, being aware. Tell your doctor or go with your wife or your girlfriend to the mammograms. Get a mammogram. There's nothing wrong with guys getting mammograms. They may look at you funny, but I'd rather have them look at me funny and be healthy than me being so bashful and then find out I've got cancer. So I tell guys to go get the mammograms with your wife. Make it a date night. If you don't know how to do the checks, make that a date night. You and your wife, because the girls always do it when they're in the showers, climb in the shower with her and say, hey, baby, show me how to do the touches. And then she'll show you how to do the feels so you can feel for breast cancer. And, it's a date night with you and your wife. So after you do the test for the cancer, you can do whatever you want to. It's none of my business. And so you've got all that. So there's things you can do. So my mission now, my story continues because I have cancer, and now I've got the purpose of letting other people know. Because I think going back to the old Spider-Man movie, when Uncle Ben told Peter, with great purpose comes great responsibility. So I've got a purpose, and I've got a responsibility to let people know what that purpose is. And that's to let people know that you can get breast cancer as a dude, and you can live life beyond it.
Well said. That's a way to end it.
That's how I roll, man.
All right, as we begin to wrap this thing up, I just want to simply say, Vic, thanks for coming on and sharing your story.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. I always love coming on here and talking to different people.
How's it feel, though? Do you feel relieved to get it out there?
Such a weight fell off my shoulder. Yeah, no, I do. After every podcast that I do, and it's not like I'm sitting around doing all of them, 24/7, but after each one of them, I'm like, if I touch one person with this story, then I've done my duty. If one dude goes out there and does the feels or has a mammogram, finds out he has breast cancer and gets it ahead of time, or if they hear the symptoms like, wait a minute, I'm secreting liquid out of my boob. Maybe I should go have that looked at. Then I have done my job.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're hoping, right? That's what you want to. That's what you get from this, right? Watch and listen.
One person at a time.
Don't take it as a joke. Go and get, if you're feeling something that right there, check it out. Go get it looked at.
And it can be anything. My main focus is male breast cancer, but it can be anything. It could be colorectal. It could be prostate. It could be pancreatic if you're not feeling good. It could be if you're having trouble breathing. It could be lung. Anything. Go get it checked. Go do what you got to do. And live a long life.
Yearly physical. That's the best way to put it. Yearly checkup.
Yeah. That's just now. That race car driver, he just won a race a couple weeks ago. He wasn't feeling good, so he went to the hospital. Now he's dead because
Kyle Busch.
Because he didn't take care of himself. There was something going on, probably prior to the symptoms, that if he had taken, and I don't know, I'm not being an authority, so don't come hating on me, But there was probably something going on. If he went and had regular checkups with regular doctors, he may be racing this weekend.
Yeah. And it's one of those cases where, I mean, a lot of times as a man, I could say it for myself, is where you refuse to go to that doctor. You're like,
yeah.
I'm good.
Because we're too tough.
I'm good. I don't need that doctor. But,
Yeah.
get it, even though, you feel that way, and if you're unsure, get it checked. Just do your yearly checkup.
Exactly.
Just to be sure.
Exactly.
All right, let's wrap this thing up with three random questions. Random questions.
Love it.
All right, so for the first question, you can either have an unlimited credit card, or an unlimited life.
Probably an unlimited credit card. I think if you had an unlimited life, I think you'd get bored. I think you live so long, well, how's my health? Like if I'm healthy, if I'm 58 eternally, then yeah, it wouldn't be so bad. But if I'm slowly aging, going older and older and older, but just living forever, then I'd rather have the unlimited credit card.
Yeah. Well, for me,
life to the fullest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I always look at it like this. I'll take the unlimited credit card because I already know I have the unlimited life in the next life.
There you go. Awesome. I love that answer. That's exactly right. I love it.
All right, question number 2. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you go? All expenses are paid.
Live anywhere in the world, probably Florida, or South Africa.
Yeah, you did say you love those places.
Yeah, those are amazing places. Florida's amazing. There's just so much going on. I probably wouldn't live necessarily where I live in Florida, but I'd probably stay in Florida and I'd have a house in South Africa. And I'd go spend part of my time there.
See, for me, for that one, I always like to say, everything's always paid for. You can live anywhere in the world. Why not? Can I just travel? Can I
live on a cruise ship?
Yeah, can I just do that instead? Just go places. Yeah, it's all paid for. That'd be more enjoyable because I feel like regardless of where you go, wherever you live,
credit card now, so you could do that.
Yeah, see, I could do that. I already got that. I don't need any expenses paid for. It's already taken care of the first question.
Sounds awesome.
All right, for the final question, I'm going to pass the mic over to you and allow you to ask me a question.
Oh, wow. Wow. If you could change one thing in your life, what would it be?
I'd like to be taller.
Okay. All right. I get that.
I'm only 5'3".
Oh, are you? Yeah, my brother's... Yeah. I'm 5'9", and my brother's... But before he had his surgeries and stuff, he's had some neck surgeries and things. He's got a little shorter. He was 6'1". And I'm like, I wish I was 6'1". That's just an awesome height. That's the perfect height. And so I feel you.
I don't think I would want to be too tall. Maybe maybe 5'8", 6 foot. I mean, yeah, that'd be fine. I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, and this thing too is you can't let you can't let. And I love watching some of these guys. I just drove by over here in Orlando. 3 guys walking. They were walking around the convention center, probably to go get something to eat. And I was just watching them walk. All 3 of them were missing a leg. And they had the prosthetics on. A couple of them were like the steel ones. One looked like an actual leg, but you could see where it was attached and all that stuff. And they were wearing shorts, walking around. And I'm like, those are guys that don't let their inabilities become disabilitating.
Yeah.
Debilitating is the word I'm looking for. So that's the thing too. Like I remember Spud Webb. I don't know if you remember Spud Webb. He played. He played basketball. He wasn't very tall at all, and but he won the slam dunk contest above all these guys. He played when Michael Jordan played, and Spud Webb, won the slam dunk contest. So we can't let, like, you're 5'3", I'm 5'9". Those guys didn't have a leg. You can't let any of this stuff stop you or get in the way of accomplishing greatness. And that's what you're doing with the podcast. That's what I'm trying to do by speaking. I don't know what those guys were doing, but they inspired me just walking.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like I've heard that story many times where people are, you're looking at somebody driving a car and you're like, man, I wish I had that car. And then the person that's driving the car is wishing that they had a train or a plane or something. Somebody's always wishing for something else.
Yeah, I'm just glad to have what I've got, and there's things that I want that I am working towards, but I don't regret what I have, and I don't wish to do away with what I have for something else. There's things I want to upgrade to, but it'll come when it comes.
And like that's the thing. It's you're easy going, and that's how I am too. It's like you just this thing called life. You just begin to appreciate everything about it, everything that you have in it. Especially when you go through what you have gone through and what you're currently going through. You begin to appreciate life even more.
Oh yeah,
because you realize how precious it is.
You learn to travel more and soak in more, and like right now where I'm parked, it's shady. There's oak trees, just shading everything. It's just beautiful, and you just soak all this in. Like I live in a pretty cool place right now, or I'm parked at a pretty cool place right now, or I'm doing something pretty cool right now, and you just soak in what is around you. Even if it's just sitting on the couch next to your wife and watching a movie, you're like, yeah, this is what life is really supposed to be about.
Yep, you just begin to appreciate everything.
Yep.
And your life, I mean, honestly, your life just becomes, you find yourself more at peace.
Oh, yeah.
You have less worries. You just enjoy it more.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. I love life.
That's what happens when you get older, guys.
It is.
you truly start to appreciate life.
Yeah, and there's a difference. Like, I don't reflect much on life, but I do appreciate life. So a lot of guys, they get older, they start reflecting on the way things used to be, and I'm like, well, the way things used to be are the way things used to be. Reflect on the present. If you keep looking too far into the past, or keep looking too far into the future, you're going to miss what's right in front of you.
And that's how we end it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for listening. This is your podcast host, Chris. And that's Vic saying thank you for having him on. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like you said, I hope somebody took something away from this.
Me too.
Until next time, peace out.